The other theme we saw, and we saw this on Wednesday and on Thursday, is that people are taking initiatives to change their situations, to not just rely on the government to change their situation, but we see their communities that are coming together to resolve the inequalities that affect them.
So MAP Kibera started in 2009 when we saw that Kibera is a blank spot in the government map. And it bothered us so much to see that our community is marked as a blank spot. And so we said, how can we map it and show the world that we exist? This is our home. And with a group of 13 youths from Kibera, different villages, we decided to start mapping. And then we produced a general map of Kibera, which was so congested. We were mapping almost everything. And before we broke it down, we called several community forums, talking to community members to ask them what would be their priority. What would they want us to map first? And there was a whole list of different items people were saying that they wanted to be mapped. So we wanted to start opening up a discussion around this. If we have so many clinics that are private, and we have a few in Lainsaba, a few in Katwekera, and a few in Soweto, using this data, we could argue or something can be done to change this situation. And then we came up with an idea of citizen journalism. How then can we make people to speak about these issues that have been highlighted by the map? If the map is showing that we don't have toilets, can't we let people speak about it? So that's when we came up with something called Kibera News Network. It's our video platform to enable people to speak about these issues that have been highlighted by the map. We again thought about Voice of Kibera, an SMS reporting platform that again make it very easy for people to send text messages of what's happening.
Okay, so we saw, like, from on Wednesday, various women group who lobby for them to get certain services, and we saw that despite their limitations, coming together, they're able to showcase, for example, even just to highlight the inequalities that they're facing. So we saw that on Thursday when MAP Kibera was saying, before Kibera was a blank slate, but when MAP Kibera started saying, we have schools here, they might not be the best schools, and the Ministry of Education needs to take into consideration this. It's people taking initiative to say, you know what, we can do something about the inequalities that faces. So in as much as we're pushing the government to do something about inequalities, the most effective way is when people come out and demand these things, when people come and say, look, we need to resolve the inequalities that are facing us.
We are a group of women, Sauti ya Wanawake. Sauti ya Wanawake in English is Voice of Women. So we just saw that there is need of us coming together as women, just ready to give our voice. Nothing else. When we come to the land issues, maybe there is a forum for the politicians, for the religious people. We just chip in, and we chip in with a song, we sing, and there already we are ready. We just say, so and so has been affected on the land issue. We need your help. And that's why we elected you, for you to help us. And that's why you are there. So if you are ready, be part and parcel of this women's problem. And that way we have managed, because a woman needs to be empowered. I personally, I can say there was a time I was stable financially. Why am I saying so? I was having 3 tractors, and with these tractors, I was doing business on plowing land. But because of this struggle of my land, because I was affected, everything went out. I had no money, but I didn't give up on struggling. I said, come what or what, this is my land, I need it. And that's why I struggled. I went even to Kilimanjaro. I'm lucky. Or during those struggles, I have managed to meet different people. And these different people, like the NLC chairman, the politicians, Nyumba ya Mumbi, ActionAid, activists, help everyone. I've managed at least to get a step somewhere. Because after the Kilimanjaro initiative, that was last year, November, early this year, on May, I have managed to get a title deed by the name Cecilia Wanjiku. I also have to make sure that these other women, we have 150 women who are ready to stand and give out per their struggle on the land issues because they don't have the title. That's why I'll continue struggling. Because even me, I have managed to get that title deed because there is someone somewhere who hold me my hand and said, Cecilia, pass here, you make it. Mimi nimesimama hapa, nafanya na kazi na Wangu Kanja Foundation. Pale kwa Wangu Kanja Foundation, tunafanya kazi mingi pale kwa ground. But moreover bado tunafanya na the CHVs wako ndani yetu na the gender defenders. Sisi huwa tunafanya referrals. Na it was a hard, ni kazi ngumu ile tunafanya pale. We keep on saving a woman. You can imagine, mama amekuwa raped, yani amebakwa, si ndio? Amebakwa na amewachwa tu kama vile Elizabeth alibakwa upande wa, where was it? It was in uko upande, was it in Migori? It was in Busia, pahali aliwachwa na akatupwa. But today, if it was gender defenders, tungefanya nini gender defenders? Gender defenders, tungefanya nini? Tungemuokoa. We were taught on how to kusave hawa wasichana na hawa kina mama. Through the Wangu Kufanya Foundation, through the AYT, tuko na shirika mingi zilikuja on board. But before that, hatukuwa tunajua kuhusu kuokoa kina mama na watoto, si ni kweli? Yeah. Tulikuwa mpaka na mambo ya evictions. Si tulikuwa tunabomolewa kimabavu. Yeah. Unapata mama amekuja na today do you know what? Lea, hauwezi ukabomolea mwanamke kwa kijiji. Hauwezi ukabomoa. Is it true? Yeah. Sisi tukibomolea tunafanya nini? Tunaandamana. Kwa hivyo, sisi pale kwa Wangu Kanja tunaleta hawa mama karibu, tuko na survivors of sexual and gender based violence. Si ni kweli? Wale walikuwa raped na hata watoto wao, wale walikuwa sodomized na wakakuwa sodomized. Wakikuja pale, what we normally do, wakati tuko kwa hizi forums, si uji-explain, tunasema who we are, na hawa mama watajitokeza tu. We have different sessions, na hizo sessions zina include wanakuwa huko, wanakuwa cancelled, alafu mtu anakuja na disclosure. Si ni kweli? Kuna wale wanafanya hiyo kazi. Kuna wale wanafanya hiyo kazi. Wako hapa. That is what we normally do there kwa hiyo Wangu Kanja Foundation.
We realize that there are so many schools in Kibera that people don't know about, including the government. When we presented this to the Minister of Education, they were shocked and also excited at the same time, because they were like, hizi shule zote ziko Kibera? And we are like, okay. We mapped 350 schools. And for the government, they knew about just 70 schools. So that was a shock to them. But again, they said this is nice because now we can be able to reach out to some of these schools they had this idea at the back of their mind that they could do away with some schools which are operating without having been registered, which our data showed clearly that, yes, many of these schools are operating under either churches, NGOs, or CBOs. They are not registered by Ministry of Education. But how could the government afford to close all these schools? Did they have an option to take these kids to? So we were doing this to help parents make informed choices of where they can send their children to, depending on their capabilities and also preferences. We did this to help the government. Our government can be able to do proper planning on education issues. If they see that there are so many schools concentrated on one particular area of Kibera, even development partners that want to bring education projects easily uses this data to make their decisions. Also, schools can be able to get to know what other schools are doing, you know, by checking how is Old Kibera doing, how is Ayani, how is PAG, how many students do they have, how much school fees do they charge, what's their contact information.
I'm with an organization of women fighting AIDS in Kenya, whereby women fighting in AIDS in Kenya are fighting for rights for women who are already infected and affected with HIV virus. Our offices are located along Gong Road. That's our main office. We have other branches in Mombasa, Kisumu, Homa Bay, and also in Kayole. We work in the slum area, Kibera, also in Kariobangi. We deal with often vulnerable children. The issue of fighting inequality, it has really affected the society, especially women who are already infected with the virus and those who are widows. Especially when it comes to the issue of inheritance, the issue of cultural aspect of it, and also inheritance to property. It has really violated the human rights, and also when we are fighting inequality, we want these women at least to know they are not on their own. We are the voice of the voiceless when it comes to women fighting AIDS in Kenya. First of all, the psychosocial support we do give, access to medication, access to nutrition, and also care and support. The issue of group therapy, whereby women and men, they do come together, not only women, whereby we have discordant couples and concordant couples. Nowadays they do come, young youths who are already infected with the virus, and also capacity building.
I think one of the most important things to take away from this is that people fight. They don't sit back, and they fight and they win. Sometimes we win. It is not easy, but sometimes we win. So it is worth fighting, and it is worth fighting together. So you're not alone. Alone, they will push you around. Alone, they will kill you. Alone, they will stamp on you. Alone, they will defeat you. But if you're fighting arm in arm with other people, it's almost cliched. Huh? You stand a better chance of winning. And so we have these spots where people are fighting, and you know, you fight for this right in one place, and perhaps it becomes a universal right. The story of the security guard who got killed, hit and injured, spending 18 hours on an ambulance and not getting attention because he didn't have health insurance. It is now law in Kenya that you have to be attended to. That's why we fight. That's why his wife, after she got through her grief, got to fight for his dignity, got to fight, not just now it turns out for his dignity, but for the dignity of every Kenyan, rich or poor.